Our families may be corrupted by the worldly trends and teachings. Unless we know how to use the book to expose and combat the falsehoods in socialism, organic evolution, rationalism, humanism, etc.
The theory of evolution, and it is a theory, will have an entirely different dimension when the workings of God in creation are fully revealed.
In our increasingly secular society, it is as uncommon as it is unfashionable to speak of Adam and Eve or the Garden of Eden.
Probably the greatest challenge to belief in Christ today is the fast-spreading denial that he is the Creator, coming from men who would supplant the revealed truth with the very tenuous and fragile theory that the universe and all life came about in some mysterious, spontaneous, accidental manner.
By his fall, Adam introduced temporal and spiritual death into the world.
In other words, there's no way to truly celebrate Christmas or Easter without understanding that there was an actual Adam and Eve who fell from an actual Eden.
Even an ordinary mind should understand it.
There is no salvation in a system of religion that rejects the doctrine of the fall, or that assumes man is the end product of evolution and so was not subject to a fall.
We will not be tossed to and fro, whether by rumors, false doctrines, or by the behavioral and intellectual fashions of the world.
Even a 4-year-old knows that a chick will not be a dog, nor a horse, nor even a turkey. It'll be a chicken.
I do not know the details of what happened on this planet before that. But I do know these two were created under the divine hand of God, that for a time they lived alone in a paradisiacal setting where there was neither human death nor future family.
True believers know that this earth and man and all forms of life were created in an Edenic or paradisiacal state in which there was no mortality, no procreation, no death.
Surely no one with reverence for God could believe that his children evolved from slime or from reptiles.
And that through a sequence of choices, they transgressed a commandment of God which required that they leave their garden setting, but which allowed them to have children.
In the countless billions of opportunities and the reproduction of living things, one kind does not beget another.
Inappropriate intellectualism sometimes leads one to testify that he knows the gospel is true, but the brethren are just a little out of touch. Out of touch with what?
Yet, some people erroneously think that these marvelous physical attributes happened by chance or resulted from a big bang somewhere. Ask yourself, could an explosion in a printing shop produce a dictionary? The likelihood is most remote. But if so, it could never heal its own torn pages or reproduce its own newer editions.
Though our understanding of the creation is limited, we know enough to appreciate its supernal significance.
Neither was it an accident of any proportion, nor a spontaneous development of any kind.
One activity which often leads a member to be critical is engaging in inappropriate intellectualism.
Is our only purpose in life an empty existential exercise, simply to leap as high as we can?
It has always been a mystery to me why it is that the intellectual elite shut themselves off from the Spirit of God sometimes.
Although one can easily imagine that those who accept the theory of evolution don't show much enthusiasm for genealogical research.
He began immediately to engage a brilliant faculty, a number of whom had their PhDs, which gave the faculty a new scholastic appearance. But by 1910, Brimhall, in common with many universities, had allowed his faculty to assume so many administrative matters and duties that the administration was largely in the hands of the faculty. The new PhD members, who were probably the most popular of the members, began to forthrightly teach the doctrine of organic evolution with all of its implications. That brought violent controversy to the campus, which caused the Board of Trustees to intervene. Two of the most vocal advocates of the doctrine were discharged, and others subsequently resigned. Many thought that the BYU could not survive that crisis. The newspapers and even the faculty assumed that they had been discharged because of their teaching of evolution. Your centennial staff has researched this carefully and found that the teaching of evolution was not, per se, the real cause of their dismissal. It was because they were as intolerant of the views of others as others were intolerant of their views. The controversy was settled by President Joseph F. Smith, who in a diplomatic article explained that the church had no philosophy about the modus operandi employed by the Lord in his creation of the world. He advised, however, that because of the immaturity of the students, it would be wise as a matter of propriety, not of belief, to leave evolution out of discussion in the church schools. Otherwise, he said, we would develop a theological aristocracy in the church. This pretty much brought the controversy to an end, and despite gloomy forebodings, the school from then on, during the approximately next 10 years, the Brimhall administration continued on its course, but was always in financial trouble. The church itself during this period had some rough financial years and was unable to give much support to the school. Because, however, of the evolution controversy, Brimhall from then pursued a very conservative policy and never again embarked into controversial fields.
Period 1 included the creation of atmospheric heavens and physical earth, culminating in the emergence of light from darkness. In Period 2, the waters were divided between the surface of the earth and its atmospheric heavens. In Period 3, plant life began. The earth was organized to bring forth grass, herbs, trees, and vegetation, each growing from its own seed. Period 4 was a time of further development. Lights in the expanse of the heaven were organized, so there could be seasons and other means of measuring time. In Period 5, fish, fowl, and every living creature were added. They were made fruitful and able to multiply in the sea and on the earth, each after its own kind. In the 6th period, creation of life continued. The beasts of the earth were made after their kind, cattle after their kind, and everything which creepeth upon the earth, again after its own kind. Then the gods counseled together and said, let us go down and form man in our image, after our likeness. So the gods went down to organize man in their own image. In the image of the gods to form they him, male and female to form they them.